Yo, what's up? Good morning, guys. Today is March 6th, I think it was. Yeah, March 6th. It is 7:49 Pacific Standard Time. I always kind of, 15 minutes a good time frame I like to stay on. I like to use hourly time frames. But these vertical lines are all showing 5:30, 5:30, 5:30, 5:30, 5:30. These orange dotted, or however you want to call them, horizontal lines are all marking out the 2100 time. So if you see today 2100, I'm going to toggle over. If you look at the bottom of the chart, you'll see it 2100. That is New York midnight open, right? So basing it on Eastern time, that's New York's midnight open. So opening prices here, we've come way lower. When 5:30 happens, I'm on the 1 hour time frame, and I'm looking for swing highs and swing lows prior to 5:30. Well, so if this is 5:30, and if all of this was gone, so if you have the 5:30 vertical line there, and you're just waiting to see if we come below a swing low or a swing high, I would say swing high we have, are these highs here. We have this high here. We have that high there. On the swing lows, this is technically a swing low, and it's prior to 5:30. You see that the line's there, right? This low is there, and there's also this low. If we're zooming out a little bit, I mean, this low is like a last. This area had never been hit prior to coming into today. This is yesterday's kind of up move. But once I know the, one second. Okay, so our swing highs and swing lows prior to 5:30, right? And then I'm gonna go to the 15 minute. I'm gonna get rid of this box. So in the 15 minute, if we were just waiting and see, this is the first hour swing that was there, and the hour swing also there. We've moved lower. It's also a 15-minute swing low right there, meaning this is a swing high and this is a swing high. And we came down into more discount, right? Because opening prices here, so we're lower, 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 lower. 5:30 opens here at like 316 and a half, and we move even lower. But once we move lower, we have this break above, and we broke in a swing high, and we have a fair value gap. So I'd like to see if price can come back into this gap from this candle's high to this candle's low, and then if it did, I would, if it, I have a limit set already at 20350, and that's like a smaller time frame. You see, like the 15-minute here is this whole gap, but here there's also a gap here, and on the 1 minute there's a gap here, right? So you see that gap, right? So it's a little lower than the 15-minute gap, and higher time frame is always more important. But I have a limit set just in case it did come to that lower gap. It would tag me in. If it came to this gap here and then didn't make it here, I would go to lower time frames and try to get an entry following along. And I would be targeting here, this clean equal highs, and there's also these clean equal highs here, right? So we have targets, we have a reasoning. We were in discount from New York Open, came down, came down, came down. 5:30 comes along, we opened here, came up a little bit, came down, moved higher, we broke structure, and now there's this gap. So, we can go ahead and see what happens. My bias all morning has been buys, and I did have like a couple little buys down here. I got stopped out, I think twice, and then I won one trade here. But really, I should have just not closed any trades down here, right? And maybe kept I would just made my stop loss bigger and just held it because now I would be already in profit. But I closed the trade to kind of put me at break even. So I think right now my account's like -50. So I'm pretty much break even. Um, I have more opportunities to try again, so I'm just being patient. I'm just waiting. Like I said, this I think at 350, 350, it would be look like this. If it was to tag me in there, it'd be a 1 to 4.78 risk to reward. It doesn't have to do that though. Higher time frame is always more important, and this is a clean and fair value gap right there. So I'm gonna just wait and see and watch if my entry gets tagged. We have 5 minutes left until this 15-minute candle closes. So see what happens. If it just taps it and then starts going back up on the 1 minute, 5, 3, 2, 1, 15-second, I'm gonna be looking for buy opportunities still. And yeah, we did hit this little 1 hour gap, but I think that since we're already in, we've already came down, down, down. Midnight open was here, came down. 5:30 open was here, came up a little bit, came down, and then we broke structure. I think that we are bullish today. Someone else might have the other opinion of that, the other side. Maybe they took a sell off this and they're thinking, okay, cool, it's going good, it's going well, and that's fine. It's each their own. Everybody has to have their own um, style, and I feel like this fits my plan well. So I will see what happens going forward. You can get tagged in here. I have it set to 250 stop loss. I have a 1100 to 1200 ticks. I'm thinking of targeting at least here. More if I go to this one. So I can risk, a little bit more on the stop to still get a 1 to 3, right? I want a 1 to 3. I don't need a 1 to 4.78. That's good if I got that, but I do not need that. I'm going to go ahead and mute and just kind of watch, but you guys know what I'm looking for. That is my plan. So we'll see. We'll kind of zoom in a little bit here in a second. We have 3 minutes left, 4 minutes left on the candle close. So we'll see what price can do. It does do, will do. I don't know if price will come down another 250 ticks, right? Who knows? It's already tapped this 15-minute fair value gap. It doesn't need to go to the lower 5-minute one or the 1-minute one. We'll have to just wait and see and follow along in price. You know, I kind of like how that candle has wicked into this area here. It didn't come to the 50% yet, um, but I do like how we're going to close. We have 15 seconds left, 10 seconds left, and we're going to close above after tapping into this area. So maybe now going forward, we can try to find another position, or price needs to come lower. So, you know, like that we're breaking this little gap here. So instead of the entry that we have, maybe we can get something like this. But then I don't like how the stop, if you're doing a 250 tick stop, you only have like the 50% here, the 15-minute gap. It could still come all the way down. Who am I to say that it wouldn't do that? Let's say you're targeting that first line at 48 and a half. So if you were doing something like this, 250, you'd be making 845. I don't want to miss the trade, so I'm going to put my limit up right here to this little invert. Let's even say there to give me a little better of a. Let's say at 30, 20430, right? Let's just make a 250 tick stop. And still, so right now we have a 1 and 3.5 risk reward. If it does come back into 20430, it'll tag me in. We're going to target at least the first highs up there at 20648, covering 250 stop loss, which I wish I had more of a cover for the rest of this 15-minute gap and these 1-minute gaps here. But maybe price does not need to go there. We've already wigged it on this 15-minute. We've already, I feel like we're already kind of done what we need to do for now. And look, we have this little fair value gap here that we're kind of respecting. Can it come back into this little inverted, right? Fair value gap. It might not need to even do that. But you see from this candle's high to this candle's low, there's this gap that's been broken now after tapping into a 15-minute gap. So maybe this is enough of an entry for us, enough of a reason, and maybe this area will hold so we can take buys to the hourly highs. All right, these hourly highs here. So the 15-second, we came here, we kind of moved above, we're moving, hit this gap here, we're kind of breaking still. So maybe we don't even need to come here anymore. We've already in this little 15-second gap here that we're kind of moving off of. That little gap we just tapped. If you're looking at the 1 minute, before the second, before it tapped the 15-minute fair value gap, this gray box, this is our 1 minute swing high, right? If you look at it. So we do have a break of the swing high on the 1 minute. There's a little gap here also, and then there's the inverted gap, right? See that little gap there? Just kind of touched it, tapped it. We've hit the inverted. That might be enough now to buy. I think I'm going to mark it buy 2.
Order filled.
Marking buy 2. So, not the best entry that I originally wanted. But let's just see. Okay, so with our entry at 20457.5, targeting the first 1 hour swing, it's at 20648.5. We are potentially, you can make 764 ticks if we're targeting that first high. I'm going to put my stop to, that's a 250 tick stop. But since there's all this room still here for price to come lower, I'm going to give myself more room. I'm going to do all the way just to the bottom. And yeah, I know that makes the risk to reward not the best, right? Like now my stop is like that and I'm doing a 1 to 7. But as I see price moving forward, I will adjust this back to the 250. I just don't want to get, like I've entered, hopefully not too early. Hopefully it doesn't come any lower into there. Hopefully if it does come here, it respects this, right? And hopefully I will be fine. So right now, even though the drawing is showing 250, because that's really what I want to keep it around, I'm willing to risk 450 ticks to cover this whole 15-minute gap, because if a 15-minute gap, if a 15-minute candle had not already closed like this one, then I would still be waiting. But this one has already tapped it and closed into this gap, so maybe that is enough as it is there, We have to just follow along, right? Maybe I bought a little early. Okay, I'm sitting here trying to wait, but maybe buying a little bit early. Nobody's perfect, but let's just see if this gap holds, then maybe we will be fine. That would have been my at 4:30. I would have got tagged in on my limit. So had I kept my limit there, I would have just been tagged in, like, at a better entry. Entry would have been like that, But that's okay. I feel like in trading, you don't have to be perfect. You have to understand risk. You have to be patient. Maybe you won't always get the best trade, but you can just let your trade play out and do its thing. So I like how it's tapped the 50% of that area where our limit would have been, should have been. Because maybe should have just kept it. Hindsight's always 20/20. It's okay though. It's all right. Even if this trade was to go into profit for the rest of the day now, or even stop me out, I am okay with it. I'm risking appropriately. I'm not breaking my rules. Um, I have a target in mind that makes sense. There's a second target that also makes sense, right? I have all these 1 hour highs here. And if you're 5:30, this is a swing high. This is a swing high. This is a swing high. These are relative equally highs on like a 4 hour. They're like wicks, and they're relatively equal. So maybe price even comes to here. Who am I to say that it cannot? It definitely can do whatever it wants to do. If price came here though, I would pay attention to what is happening on the lower time frame. I like that. So we've tapped into the 15-minute gap here. We're on the 1 minute time frame right now, but we've tapped into the 15-minute gap. We broke this high here with this move here, pushed up and broke this high. We came back in and we respected the 50% of that inverted fair value gap. And then this high here, we've now broken again. So I moved my stop loss back to 250 ticks. But what if price came back into this area here? Is that another opportunity to buy? Sure, why not? Let's buy it. Let's do it again. So I'm going to do limit buy 1. So I will add one more position. I'll keep my stop loss 250 ticks. I'm going to just put it at the same price I'm already in at. So at 457.5. If price was to just come down one more time lower, there's a little gap here and a break of structure there. If price was to come one more time lower, I would get tagged into one more contract. And I'd be done. I wouldn't add any more positions. I would take off 2 here and let one run to here kind of thing, right?
Order filled.
So I did just get tagged into the third contract at the same price, 250 ticks. Again, I'm giving myself a little breathing room. I don't want this to be the last trade I can take because I have a max loss limit. So if this 300 ticks gets hit at three minis, micros, whatever, it's $1.50 I'm risking per tick. So 300 times $1.50 is 450. That will put me at my loss limit. So regardless of what happens now, I'm done. Unless I partial or something, right? I'm not limited to the trades. I'm limited to the amount of money. So we have to just wait and see. It's 8:15 Pacific Standard Time, so that 15-minute candle just closed. The second one. Let's see how it closed. So we closed with this candle here, and technically it could probably come lower still into this gap if it wanted to, needed to. So maybe we still are early. Maybe we get one more pull down into this little 15-minute gap, the 5-minute gap, the 1-minute gap. If it did that, I would get stopped out and I would be wrong. It sucks because if I got stopped out, I would still hold that idea that that's the right area to buy in. I was just too early, but then I'd be locked out, so I wouldn't even be able to get into the trade there, you know? So that's just something I do to myself to just fight those revenge trading days and those temptations to risk more. I set limits on the amount of money I can lose and the amount of money I can make. Um, so we'll have to just see. I'm already in this trade now. Let's kind of just let it play out. I like that it hit this 15-minute gap, had the 15-minute swing highs, the break. It's time for it to go up. I mean, it could come lower, right? It could definitely come more into this gap here. And like I said, there's a 5-minute, 1-minute gap. Hopefully it does not. Hopefully it keeps me in. It'll keep going. I'm gonna kind of just toggle back and forth between the 15-minute and the 1-minute. I'm gonna mute. I'm here just watching, hanging out.
Order filled.
Alright guys, so I end up closing the trade. If you see, I've lost 350 bucks today. Okay. My original, I think I have it still saved. Let's see. The original idea I had, not that one. So look, this is it here, that 350. So let's just get rid of this one, remove. Right, and I was thinking that if it tapped that little gap, right, I was a little early then. Price can still come lower. This is the 1 minute gap here, and I had limit at 350. But now that I've lost 350, right, let's just do the calculator real fast so you guys see how I think about it. So I have 150 bucks left. So let's just say I have used one contract only at 350. Now I can have a 300 tick stop loss, right? 300 ticks divided by zero 0.5 is 150. So if it did come in lower, a little bit lower, one more time, I could still target here. And yeah, 1100, 1200 ticks divided by half is 600 bucks, right? So I could still make money on today. It would be not as much as I wanted, um, but it's okay. Even being in profit or break even is better than a losing day, unless the losing day really follows your rules. You know what I'm saying? Price might want to come right back down into this little gap and tag me in. So since I've already now done what I can, like I said, I limit myself. I'm doing the risk settings myself. Maybe I need to give myself a little bit more room to breathe and to do, but it's possible to still get this trade and still ride it out to here, or ride it out to here, and maybe there's even opportunities later on. If it did tag me in here at the 50, 20350, if it tagged me in there and then kept moving higher later on in the day, maybe I could still take another position here and go there still. I can still add positions. I just cannot hit the $500 loss limit. But on the 15-minute now, right, this is a swing low that's been made inside of this gap, and we did just get wicked. So maybe now that is enough. Who knows? Or maybe we just come lower and we do respect these little 1 hour gaps here, and we just continue lower. This is a daily fair value gap I have marked out. This low would be valid. I'm going to stick to my buys and just see what can happen. I don't know why my thing's so laggy. My internet's been messed up. I like that we've, touched the 50%. We haven't quite touched, like, if you're using order blocks, right? That this could be the, last series of down move candles that causes a breakup, the break being here. So maybe this is the order block, someone's entry is maybe here. Um, we have to just see. I think we're bullish. I think we at least take these highs. So anyone waiting for limits on that order block just probably got tagged in if they had limits set. Price is at 5.4. My limit's at 50.
Order filled.
Bam, there we go. Filled. So I'm gonna do a 300 tick stop loss. Cool reaction though, right? Hit the order block, hit the little 1 minute gap. I marked out the 1 minute gap with these two lines here. Let me show you. From that candle's low to this candle's high, it tapped that thing perfectly. It's a little unfortunate because my overall plan and idea coming into when I started the live was this trade right here. Literally, if you go back to the beginning of the video, you'll see later that I had my limit set at 203.50 and I had a tool drawn on like this. I was explaining how I like the 50-minute break. I got a little excited there because it tapped the gap. I should have maybe held because the order block was still there. Or maybe we are just wrong, you know what I'm saying? We did have quite a bit of a reaction though, 300 plus ticks up once it tapped. Like that was quick. I'm going to take another buy, I think, off of this area here. You were kind of breaking. We broke here, and then we wicked it. Now we're in this area again.
Order filled.
So I bought one. Now I only have 150 ticks though. 150 bucks left to play with. So now this area has to hold, right? Or else I just over risk too quickly and price would come down and stop me out. But since we've tapped this little 1 minute order block, the 5 minute order block, and all that stuff, I'm gonna just let it do its thing. I do wish that I had more available risk left for the day, because really I would still like to be covering, like here, right? The 20287s. That would be, I think, the best kind of stop.
Order filled.
Hey,
There's pancakes if you want to
thanks.
divorce.
Mike, you want to eat, babe? Do you want to eat? He went to eat.
No.
It's not looking too good. Like, I probably get stopped out, which is unfortunate. I messed around a little bit too much in here, and I can see that, and I know that. If price does not stop me out and continues moving higher, that would be cool. The other account that I was messing with is one I failed. It's just one I'm like trading still. So I traded with like the highest amount of ticks or contracts I can. So the other one has a limit at 50, 350, and it got tagged in. I have the stop loss at 250 ticks, and I'm targeting here and here. Yeah, we did hit this little hourly gap, but we technically don't have a break until this candle that we're in right now closes, because it'd have to break this candle there, I think. The 5 minutes, I don't think that's a clear enough break, or I'm not sure. I don't think that we've done enough up here to continue breaking. And we have a swing high there, came down, kind of came down. We're still in this little 1 minute fair value gap here. We still have the 15-minute order block. We're below midnight opening price. 5:30 price here kind of came up a little bit, came down, broke, and now we're back into this area here. I still think it's a good opportunity for a buy. Best stop loss would be covering here, at least the 50% of like this range here. So probably somewhere like this line, bottom line. Like my original idea, which was this. All right, that's buys at 350 and a 250 tick stop loss, and it's covering like the half of all this area here. I'm gonna see these equal highs get hit, and then these equal highs get hit.
Order filled.
Yeah, so we did get stopped out. Doesn't mean that the idea is wrong, though. Maybe this one. Let's just even do, this is a failed account, so let's just do a bigger stop real fast. I'm gonna just kind of let it do its thing. Maybe, bam, when it stopped me out right there. So in this idea, regardless of what I wanted, it would have been stopped out. Let's see if we were to cover this whole low here. Do we just continue going lower to this 4 hour? One thing I didn't really do was look at the 4 hour time frame too much. I don't know why my computer's so slow, so weird. Yeah, so we did tap into this little 4 hour gap and 1 hour gap. But I just feel like we have these equal highs here, but then we do have the equal lows that we can go to. Hit the 1 hour gap there. On the 15 minute, we technically now broke structure with this candle here, breaking this low. So maybe the trade is off the inverted, kind of like where I entered. Maybe the opportunity is to sell. Yeah, maybe the trade I did today, just, wrong side, wrong part of the market. I was thinking that since we came up way up here and then moved down, and then here we kind of broke, that we were technically like in a discount, get to be buying. But then we did come back up into the 4 hour gap that's like here, to the 1 hour gap that's here. 15 minute, when we hit that little gap, we have a swing high there, we have a swing low there, we've broken it, we've broken this gap. And once we've broken the gap with this candle here, we even came up and touched it again to the fair value gap. So let's make this one orange. On the 5 minute, we've moved below this gap, we've broken that gap. There's still this little 5 minute gap inside of this whole inverted area. Hey, be nice.
Order filled.